All right, it is 7 o'clock. We will call to order the Tuesday, May 17th City Council meeting. Let's start with roll call.
Councilman Becker.
Here.
Councilman Hartwick. Here. Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Schultz.
Here.
President Scheer.
Here. Agenda item 3 is public hearings. This evening we have none. Agenda item 4 is public comment. Just as a reminder, the City Council will receive comments from city residents. Comments are generally limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak is required to sign up in advance or state the following items for the record when called upon. That would be name, address, subject matter, and contact information. No action will be taken on any public comments unless the item is also elsewhere on the agenda. Did we have anyone sign up in advance? All right, this will be a first call for public comment, either in person or on Zoom. This is a second call for public comment. This is a third and final call for public comment. Hearing none, we will move right along. Agenda item number 5 is the consent agenda. The consent agenda that is outlined is presented for action by the City Council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one council member. Items not removed may be adopted by one action without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the council president.
I move to approve the consent agenda as listed, items 5A through 5H.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I will do a disclosure for item F. I am the chamber president. This is a chamber event. However, I do not receive any financial reimbursement for this event. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Agenda item 6 is petitions, requests, and communications. 6A is the review and possible action relating to a proclamation recognizing Fort Atkinson as the intersectional peony city of Wisconsin.
Good evening. This will probably be the most stressful part of the agenda for you, I'm sure. Every year since 2012, the city has been nominated and proclaimed by the city and state to be the intersectional peony city of Wisconsin. We pursue that designation due to our relationship with Roger Anderson, who is one of the world's premier intersectional peony breeders. We call him a peony rock star. He is famous worldwide for his development of these specific hybrid type of peonies, of which we have the world's largest public collection of them on the museum's grounds. So it's very fitting that we are the intersectional peony city of Wisconsin because we are the intersectional peony of a city of Wisconsin. It fits. So again, this is something we'd like to pursue this year, obviously given the council's permission to do so.
Marilee, what's the sweet spot season for those?
I would say late May, early June. So when we pursue this, we look for the first Saturday of June as kind of our date. And that really seems to be the good spot, if you will. It's always weather depending on when exactly they'll be in bloom and what's going on, but it seems to be when they're about right.
Well, I will go ahead and make the motion to approve the proclamation recognizing Fort Atkinson as the intersectional peony city of Wisconsin.
Second.
We have a motion and a couple seconds. Any further discussion, questions? All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 6B is the review and possible action relating to a proclamation recognizing April 22nd, 2022 as Monarch Pledge Day in the city of Fort Atkinson.
Thank you. So the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose multi-generational migration and metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly has captured the imagination of millions of Americans. Both the Western and Eastern monarch populations have seen significant declines, with less than 1% of the Western monarch population remaining, while the Eastern population has fallen by as much as 90%. Through the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor Monarch Pledge, cities and municipalities commit each year to create habitat and educate residents on how to make a difference at home or in their community. Cities that take the pledge commit to at least 3 of 30 action items to help save the monarch butterfly. On April 22nd, the city of Fort Atkinson committed to launching a public communication effort to encourage residents to plant monarch gardens at their homes or in their neighborhoods. Committed to issuing this proclamation to raise awareness about the decline of the monarch butterfly and the species' need for habitat. Committed to planting a monarch and pollinator-friendly demonstration garden at a prominent location in the city, and to display educational signage at the monarch garden and pollinator habitat. The city does have 2 monarch and pollinator-friendly demonstration gardens, one at the Hoard Historical Museum and the other on the city's land on Grove Street. So approving this proclamation is not expected to have any financial impact on the city, and staff does recommend that the council approve the proclamation for Monarch Pledge Day to raise awareness about the issues pollinators face.
I move to approve the proclamation recognizing April 22nd, 2022 as Monarch Pledge Day in the city of Fort Atkinson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Agenda item 6C is the review and possible action relating to a proclamation recognizing the 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerics Week.
Yeah, thank you. So May 1st through 7th, 2022 was the 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week. This was initiated in 1969 by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks and is endorsed by all of its members throughout the United States, Canada, and other countries. In the future, staff does intend to recognize Municipal Clerks Week with a proclamation before the week occurs. However, even after the fact, it's important to recognize the contributions of our staff. The city's municipal clerk provides the professional link between our citizens, local government bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. The staff of the clerk's office have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all residents through transparency and accountable government practices. They continually strive to improve participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and annual conferences across Wisconsin. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the proclamation recognizing 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week and recognize the city's professional municipal clerk, Michelle Ebert, and her staff, Courtney, Lance Lebitz, and Ashley Karstens.
I move to approve the proclamation recognizing the 53rd Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Doubtful there's much discussion on it, but I will say now you can brag to the other clerks. You got a whole extra week of celebrating. So.
And just a thank you.
And-
Michelle and her team take care of far more than I think most people who live in our city are aware of. So thank you to all of them.
Yes, thank you. As far as I'm concerned, I've referred to you, and I mean this really complimentary as a machine. You just get it done, and that's always impressed me.
Thank you.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 7 is resolutions and ordinances. 7A is the first reading relating to an ordinance amending section 1-14 of the City of Fort Atkinson Municipal Code relating to voting wards and boundaries.
Thank you. It's very exciting to have more than 9 wards. Since I began with Fort Atkinson, it was always wards 1 through 9. So a little bit of history. If the council remembers, a couple of years ago, we had annexed a property on Highland Avenue. And when an annexation occurs, you have to assign a new ward to that property, whether it's one property or multiple acres or multiple residents. So at that time, that house was designated as Ward 10. Following that, we were in the midst of annexing the Banker Road area. So while we were annexing Banker Road, that was assigned as Ward 11, because you just kind of go in order. So as everything was being approved, and then we had redistricting, our Ward 10, the one household was swallowed up by Ward 6 as it was immediately adjacent, and it had the same representative supervisory districts and all. So that left us with an island of Ward 11 being Banker Road. While that doesn't create issues per se, it's frowned upon, I would say, from the county, the land records office, and the elections commission. It's just cleaner to have your wards go in sync and to not have a gap in there. So they had requested that we consider and changing Ward 11 to Ward 10 for Banker Road. This does not affect any voters as Banker Road is no land, or I'm sorry, no residents right now. It is just land. But in the future, once it does grow, it would be designated as Ward 10. So officially it would be an ordinance that we have presented here. As mentioned, we would look to have the first reading approved. Again, it has no impact on any employees, no financial impact. And then we'd be looking at approving the second and possibly waiting the third at the June 7th meeting. That would allow us plenty of time to make sure that the August ballot states wards 1 through 10 and not wards 1 through 9/11.
Michelle, can I ask, is it just state statute or required that it be assigned a ward, even though there are not any residents actually within that area?
Correct.
Okay.
If it was annexed prior to the beginning of the redistricting, it might have been included with Ward 1.
Okay.
And then we would probably still have wards 1 through 9. So 10 years from now, when redistricting happens again, depending on the population of Banker Road, it could be added in to Ward 1, or all the wards in that area could kind of be refigured and new lines drawn.
Okay. And you would still have to include it in a future election, even if there are no residents in that area?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
I would still have to order ballots if it was a different ballot style, even if there were no residents. Luckily, it's the same supervisory district as the adjacent,
Okay.
so it would be included.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I move to direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance amending section 1-14 of the City of Fort Atkinson Municipal Code relating to voting wards and boundaries for a second and possible third reading at the meeting on June 7th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and some seconds. Any other discussion or questions? This will be a roll call vote.
Councilman Becker,
Aye.
Councilman Hartwick.
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Schultz,
Aye.
President Scheer.
Aye. Agenda item 8 is reports of officers, boards, and committees. 8A is the city manager's report.
Thank you. So the city's Board of Review met on May 5th. The Board of Review did not receive any requests to change property tax assessments. However, we were notified by the assessor that our assessment ratio is at about 74%, which puts the city outside of compliance with the state requirement of plus or minus 10% of fair market value. The city will be looking at revaluation options either in 2023 or 2024. Our third and final city council orientation was this evening before this meeting. We reviewed financial policies, the general fund and our other funds, expenditures and revenues, our tax increment districts, and the CIP and budgeting process. Thank you for those who attended throughout our new orientation process. It was a goal of mine to prepare this and provide it for our new council members, and now we have accomplished that and set a positive path forward. And now we have a nice system in place for any new council members in the future. So I think that's very beneficial for all involved. The city did extend an offer of employment, and it has been accepted to Jedediah Drager, who will start as the city's new building inspector and zoning administrator on May 31st. We're very excited to welcome Jed to our team. And as you all probably know by now, the Robert Street Bridge will close next week for a new bridge deck replacement. Along with that closure, there will be no parking on Main Street to accommodate the additional traffic. There'll be 2 lanes in both directions. The city and the school district will be issuing additional communications about this project this week. And I believe there will be a public meeting early next week as well at the library. Finally, this next week, I will get to participate in 2 really exciting events. One is a strategic planning session for the Jefferson County Economic Development Consortium on Monday and Tuesday. And then the second is on Wednesday, President Scheer, Engineer Selly, and myself will speak at the Wisconsin chapter of the American Planners Association conference in Green Bay about the city's proactive efforts at attracting much needed housing development to our community. So we're very excited about presenting the work that we've done over the last year on our Banker Road parcels, along with our folks at Vanderwall. So we're excited about that, and I look forward to representing the city of Fort Atkinson at those events. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question about,
Sure.
with the Robert Street Bridge closing? Probably more pointed at Andy, I would assume. The traffic flow on the Riverside Road that turns into or it's 106 all the way through, does that stay in? Is that impeded or does that stay open?
No, that'll stay open. There will be some work on the north side of Robert Street Bridge that might result in some temporary lane closures. They're going to put in temporary traffic signals up there, and we're going to eliminate the crosswalk that is at the end of, I think it's Van Buren Street right there. That's just not in a very safe place around that curve. So work in that area for those elements will result in either some minor traffic rerouting, I guess, but you'll still be able to travel the road. The road will never close through there.
Does, again, just my thought on that, stopping that crosswalk's a good idea.
Mhm.
Is it going to be stopped by more than painted lines, or is it going to be stopped by possibly a barrier of some sort that would keep cars from crossing there too?
Yeah, so the crosswalk at the end of Van Buren will be completely removed. It'll be the paint will be ground off the road, and then the approaches for the crosswalk, that kind of the ramp that goes down to the street, that'll be removed as well and planted with grass. So visually, if you wanted to cross there, you'd have to walk through the grass, jump over the curb, and cross where there's no crosswalk. So we can't stop that, but generally speaking, people kind of tend to
I'm
gravitate
just
towards
used to people ignoring that.
well, there's mostly the younger crowd, right? I suppose, but I think it'll look like it's not a crossing, which is our intent at the end of it.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to get rid of that one.
I just wondered if there might be, or it's a concept of a barrier on the probably east side that would suggest that now you could try and cross with your bicycle, but you'll have to go around the barrier anyways, or lift your bike over.
Right. Yeah, that might be step 2 if we can't affect it with step 1. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 9 is unfinished business. 9A is the review and possible action relating to the transfer of $91,760.74 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to specific assigned memorial fund accounts.
Thank you. So the Parks and Recreation Department has received 2 separate substantial donations within the last few years. In 2017, the department received about $30,000 from Arlen Larson's estate. Mr. Larson had an affinity for Jones Park. He was an umpire, a youth coach, and a referee, and he spent 39 years assisting the Parks and Recreation Department in part-time roles. In 2021, the Parks and Recreation Department received about $62,000 as a memorial from Lloyd Kniffel's estate. Mr. Kniffel enjoyed countless hours at the Aquatic Center in Jones Park. He loved polka music and supporting many local community events and organizations. And it's just a good thing to be able to recognize those folks and their contributions. But the reason this is on the agenda is because those funds were donated to the Parks and Recreation Department without a specific purpose. And unfortunately, they got swallowed up into the general fund unassigned fund balance at the end of the year because they were not included in our request to carry over funds. So these funds have, as I said, have not been designated for a purpose. However, we are looking to designate them for a purpose through our comprehensive outdoor recreation planning process that has started already and will be completed in 2022. For the time being, we wanted to take these funds out of the unassigned fund balance and put them into specific assigned memorial fund accounts. This has no impact on the general fund balance, as they were not included in the unaudited report that we provided earlier in the year. This is the reason we asked the council we're asking the council to take this action tonight is for a paper trail for our auditors. It is a large amount of money. We wanted to make sure that our auditors understood that the city council has approved this transfer of funds, even though it does not, there is no financial impact of this. We are just simply moving those two. We're moving roughly $91,760,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to 2 assigned memorial equity accounts in honor of Arlen Larson and Lloyd Kniffel. So we do recommend that the council approve the transfer of the $760,074.74 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to these specific assigned memorial fund accounts as described in the memo.
I move to authorize the transfer of $91,760.74 from the general fund unassigned fund budget balance to specific assignment to the memorial fund accounts as described by the staff memo.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, questions?
I just want to add, I appreciate the due diligence on this. I knew both of these individuals and know how much those spaces and park and rec related activities meant to them. So I think this is a nice way to publicly make sure people know that their intention of donating the money to the betterment of those things in our community will be honored. And I think this just helps solidify that. So I appreciate that distinction being made.
All right, this will be a roll call vote.
Councilman Becker,
Aye.
Councilman Hartwick,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Schultz,
Aye.
President Shear.
Aye, that motion carries. Agenda item 10, new business. 10A is the review and possible action on the purchase of fire department equipment, including a striker medical monitor / defibrillator for $34,320.74, a Jefferson fire and safety stretcher for $20,984, a striker medical stair chair for $3,421.46, and a striker medical demo stretcher for $16,596.21. Anything else you want to throw on there?
Good evening. Yes, we're looking for approval from the council to purchase items you just listed. All of these items we currently have for our current ambulance. These are part of the startup costs for EMS. I believe all the monies involved here are already planned either from donations or the startup costs.
I will just note that in the memo, we have that table number 1, which is the fire department EMS startup cost budget. There's $500,000 in that budget. These costs are all within that budget. And just as a reminder, that budget, the $500,000 is made up of $250,000 in a community foundation grant and $250,000 of ARPA funds. So they're ARPA being the American Rescue Plan Act funds from the federal government. So there are no general tax dollars that are going to these purchases.
All right, here we go. I move to authorize the city manager to sign a purchase order for fire department equipment, including a striker medical monitor and defibrillator for $34,320.74, a Jefferson fire and safety stretcher for $20,984, a striker medical stair chair for $3,421.46, and a striker medical demo stretcher for $16,596.21.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. However, I think our second should have had to read all that. Any discussions or questions?
He still can.
That's all right. We won't hold you to that, Bruce. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Agenda item 11 is miscellaneous. This evening we have none. Agenda item 12 is claims, appropriations, and contract payments. 12A is the review and possible action relating to the verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and authorization of payment.
I move to approve the list of verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and authorize payment.
Second.
Motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote.
Councilman Becker,
Aye.
Councilman Hartwick,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Schultz,
Aye.
President Shear.
Aye, that motion carries. Agenda item 13, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.